When a kidnapper pointed a gun at my sister's head, my fiancé was worried sick. He pushed me toward the kidnapper. "Can we switch hostages?" "I'm sorry." He turned to me. "Your sister's carrying my baby." 6 months later, I escaped from the kidnapper and returned home with a baby bump. My fiancé completely lost it. "Whose baby are you carrying?" I thought I knew Leland so well. After all, we were childhood sweethearts. Ever since he was a kid, he promised that he would marry me when we grew up. So I never expected that one day he would tell me that my 19-year-old half-sister, Tamia, was pregnant with his baby. To make things worse, he even asked me to take Tamia's place as the hostage. I couldn't believe it. I stared at Leland like a complete idiot and blurted out, "You're joking, right?" He clenched his jaw and didn't say a word. The kidnapper chuckled. "Even I can tell he's not." He then lit up a cigarette and pointed at Leland. "So, who's gonna be the hostage then?" Leland turned away, refusing to even look at me. The harsh truth hit me like tons of bricks. Was he still the Leland I used to know? He told me again and again that he would marry me. He used to cherish me and treat me like treasure. But today, he wouldn't even spare me a glance. Instead, he gazed at Tamia, concern in his eyes, urging her to stay calm for the sake of their baby. Then Leland looked at me. "Glinda, I will bring you home. Just hold on a little longer. The child is innocent." He turned to the kidnapper. "Keep her as a hostage and let me take Tamia back. If not, you won't get a dime from me." Tears welled up in my eyes as I gazed at Leland's handsome face. I used to be captivated by his looks and charms, but now all I felt was despair. I still couldn't believe he'd become so heartless. I had no other choice. "I can be the hostage," I said. Leland looked at me, his eyes devoid of any affection. In that moment, I was sure that he no longer loved me or even cared about me. He gave all his love and care to Tamia. I sniffled, trying to hold back my tears. "But can you tell me when you and Tamia got together?" I closed my eyes, racking my brain for memories. "Was it when I had that accident and called you? You said you were in a meeting, but you sounded out of brie. Or maybe on my birthday. I noticed those red marks on your neck. You said they were mosquito bites, but wouldn't let me see them up close." Or tears streamed down my face. And I continued. "You used to go with me to the cemetery every year on the anniversary of my mother's death. But this year, you ignored my calls for 12 hours straight. I should have suspected something was wrong. Yet I didn't doubt him even once till he was my childhood sweetheart, the boy I grew up with, and the man I loved with all my heart. Little did I know that he would have an affair with Tamia, my own half-sister. Tamia was my father's illegitimate daughter, born from his affair with a woman named Sheila. Unfortunately, my mother, Delilah, died of a broken heart because of Tamia's existence. After my mother's death, Tamia and Sheila met, moved into our house. From that moment on, it felt like my father had shifted his attention and affection entirely towards Tamia. He showered her with expensive jewelry, gave her the best house in town, and treated her like a princess. Perhaps noticing I wasn't happy about it, my father tried to console me. "Glinda, please don't be angry. I wasn't there for Tamia when she grew up, but you have me all the time. I just want to make up for my past mistakes." I couldn't help but sneer to myself. He seemed to have forgotten the fact that Tamia was his illegitimate child, and it was normal for her to have grown up without a father. Make amends. My father donated money to a university to ensure Tamia's enrollment. He even transferred the company's shares to her. Sheila even took over my mother's old rooms, wore her jewelry, and socialized with her former friends. Even the household servants began treating me differently, as if I were no longer a part of the family. Every time I told Leland about it, he would hold me in his arms, assuring me, "Don't be afraid. I'll marry you. Then all these people will know how important you are, including Sheila and Tamia." I truly believed we would be together forever. But things took a turn when Tamia started playing the pity card in front of him. When Leland was around, she often fainted. Her face would be red and sweaty, but she would bite her lips and act tough. Too often, Tamia pointed at the designer clothes I was wearing and asked Leland about the brands. Whenever she asked him that, she would act like a pitiful little rabbit. And she would tell him that she had a hard life when she was young, so she knew nothing about designer clothes done. On top of that, I often caught her exposing the scratches on her arms, but then hurriedly covering them up like she didn't mean to show them. Leland couldn't hold back his curiosity and asked her how she got those scratches. She cried in his arms, telling him how kids bullied her for having no father and that she would feel better after hurting herself. At first, Leland got stiff all over, his hand hanging in the air. But then he patted her back gently, soothing her with a soft tone. As I snapped out of my memories, I saw the two of them walking away from me. They looked certain that the kidnapper would never let me go, and I would be out of their sights for good. I was heartbroken watching Leland's back walking toward the door. "Does Tamia matter more than me to you?" I asked. He didn't answer. He just wrapped his arm around Tamia's waist and quickened his pace. And then he disappeared from my sight. Devastated, I turned to look at the kidnapper. "Where are you taking me?" He lit a cigarette with a smile. "You don't get to ask me questions. You're the hostage, remember?" When he raised his head and looked at me, I caught a glimpse of his eyes, which had been hidden under the baseball cap before. His deep eyes were pure cold, and I thought he would kill me on the spot. But to my surprise, I managed to survive for over 6 months in his hands before the police found my location and rescued me. Before he was arrested, the kidnapper laughed out loud and looked at me, his eyes full of mixed emotions. After I got home, I was greeted by Tamia, Sheila, my dad, and Leland. Tamia's baby bump was quite noticeable by now, while Leland kept staring at me silently with a meaningful gaze. The moment I stepped into the house, he walked up to me. Glinda Tamia wiped away her tears and stuttered. We were so worried about you." We hardly ate the last few months. None of them looked thinner than before, but Leland indeed looked haggard. He gently patted my shoulder and asked in a hoarse voice, "How have you been? Are you hurt?" I calmly took a step back and dodged his hand. "Don't touch me." His eyes widened slightly. "Glinda, I know you blame me, but I hired detectives and investigators to look for you everywhere as soon as I could." He paused a moment before adding, "I thought you would be free as long as I gave the kidnapper the ransom and hired people to look for you. But I didn't know you would be captive for so long. I've been suffering every day for the past 6 months. I hate myself." I fought to hold back my laughter. He's so ridiculous. "You hate yourself? Then tell me, do you hate yourself for sleeping with your fiancé's sister and getting caught? Or do you hate yourself for not wearing a condom?" He was stunned. Probably because he had never seen the side of me before. "I know you hate me." I shook my head and walked past him, saying indifferently, "Get your head out of the clouds. I don't hate you anymore. Actually, I don't feel anything at all for you. Enem, I want you to stay away from me. Because I'm pregnant." "What?" Leland asked in disbelief. "Glinda, you're kidding, right? You're telling me that just because you want to piss me off. How could you possibly get pregnant all on your own?" As soon as he finished speaking, Leland shut up. He finally realized he had done something terrible, leaving me with a dangerous man for over 6 months. "I'm not lying," I replied. "I'm pregnant with that man's child." His face darkened instantly. He paced back and forth anxiously. "Glinda, please tell me it's not true." It can't be." I sat on the sofa and looked at the antique porcelain plate on the coffee table. It was one of my mom's collections. She told me it would be my wedding gift. But now it has become a container for Tamia's favorite toffee. Why so surprised? You should have known the moment you turned around and abandoned me. Back then, did you ever think about my feelings when you knocked up Tamia?
Huh?
With that, I poured the toffee on the plate into the trash can. Then I stood up from the sofa and went upstairs with the plate. "Listen up. Don't ever lay your hands on my mom's stuff again." I was about to go upstairs when my dad finally came to his senses and shouted, "Stop right there. Who's the father of your child?" "Glinda, it's just a plate."
Why so serious about it?
"Put it down first and explain why you were pregnant." I stopped and turned around, explaining impatiently. "Of course. The man who took me hostage is the father.
Who else could it be?"
Then I pointed to Tamia. "She's carrying Leland's child, yet you all keep silent about it. Why make a fuss over my pregnancy?" She touched her belly. "Glinda, please. What's done is done. There's nothing I could do to change things." And when she stared at the plate in my hand, hatred was written all over her face, as if I had snatched something that belonged to her. Then she added, "At least my child's father is a decent man. But your child's father." Suddenly, she stopped. "Keep going." I looked at Tamia and smiled. "What cat got your tongue? Just so you know, my child's father is the best man in the world." The next second, the sound of glass break echoed in the living room. Leland had knocked over the coffee table and the cup shattered into pieces. His face was pale, and he looked at me incredulously. In the past, I always said he was the best man in the world. I had praised him since I was a child, but it was him who pushed me into hell. Now I had gotten out of hell, and I fell for another man. And Leland couldn't take it. Puzzled, I asked him, "Why are you looking at me like that, Leland? You're the reason it all went down like this. You know it." I went upstairs to my bedroom. The moment I opened the door, I thought I'd gone to the wrong room. Everything in the room was red. The sheets, curtains, lampshades, and even the dressing table. I would never choose red as a color for decorating, but now it was everywhere. It no longer felt like my own space to me, a must of my room while I was away. She was the only one who loved red so much that I couldn't help but let out a sigh. Back then, Sheila took over my mom's room right after she passed away. Later on, my dad helped Sheila renovate the bedroom in the way she liked at the site. The nanny, who had been taking care of me since I was a kid, commented that the bedroom didn't look as elegant as before. Not long after that, Sheila fired her. Like mother, like daughter. Now Tamia took over my room and made it her own. There was no room for me in this family anymore. Tamia followed me and said, "Glinda, I'm pregnant and need more sunlight. So, I moved to your bedroom. Do you want me to move out?" Then my dad uttered, "It's okay, Tamia. Glinda is your sister. She doesn't mind it. Well, you can let her have your room." After closing the bedroom door, I told them firmly, "No, I don't want her room. I'll get morning sickness when I see something disgusting in Tamia's room." Then I turned around and went downstairs, adding, "I'm going to stay in the hotel." My father was stunned because it was the first time that he had ever heard me talking back like that. In the past, whenever they treated me like trash, I would just take it. Not daring to fight back, Tamia choked up, playing the victim again and again and again. Tears welled up in her eyes as she mumbled, "Glinda, I told you if you don't like it, I can move out." I frowned and stopped. "Okay then, give me back my room. I hate your room. Can't you see?" Hearing that, Tamia was so shocked that she even forgot to keep the show going on. Nearly rolling my eyes at her, I made a gesture to motion her to get it started. "Pack up your things and take them out of my room. I'm waiting," I demanded. I used to have a good temper and never got angry with others, believing that it was how a well-educated and elegant lady should behave. However, Harold Adams, the man who had kidnapped me and kept me by his side, burst my bubbles of fantasy. He told me that I should keep my good temper to myself and lash it all out when someone bullied me, especially when it came to dealing with my family. He stroked my hair and said, "Promise me that you will never let anyone bully you again. Okay?" And I nodded at him.
No.
I was standing in the corridor with my arms folded, looking at Tamia's tearful eyes and listening to her sobs without saying a word.
I wanted to see when she would start doing as I said.
Unfortunately, could take action.
My dad voiced his thoughts.
"Enough, Glinda." His voice echoed through the house, filled with annoyance. "You're overreacting. All this over a room?" I slowly turned to him, feeling a quiet rage build up inside me. "Over a room?" I repeated, incredulously. "Do you really think this is just about a room?" My father let out an exasperated sigh. "You've always been selfish. Your sister is pregnant and needs comfort. You lost your room months ago. Can't you just accept it? Did I lose it, or did you hand it over like you do, with everything that was mine?"
Silence.
"This isn't just about a room, Dad. It's about how you've stolen everything from me. Everything I had left. You already took my mother, my home, my fiancé, my future, and now you want the last piece of space that was mine?" Tamia was sobbing in the background, placing a hand on her belly, as if me asking for my own room back was a direct attack on her unborn child. I can leave, really," she mumbled in a shaky voice. I lifted a hand to stop her.
Great.
"Then do it.
Now."
Her eyes widened in shock. "What?" I crossed my arms and stared at her. "You said it yourself. You can leave. So do it. Pack your things and return what was never yours." She looked at our father for support. He crossed his arms and sighed heavily. "Glinda, you can't just come back after months and expect to change everything. Don't you think Tamia has the right to a comfortable place?" I laughed. A cold, bitter laugh. "Interesting. So abandoning me to die was a quick decision, but giving me back what's mine? Oh, that needs to be debated." Tamia lowered her head, but I caught a glimpse of a small, satisfied smirk at the corner of her lips. "You're overreacting, as always." This time it was Leland who spoke. My attention shifted to him, and the disgust I felt at seeing his face was so overwhelming that I was shocked I hadn't slapped him yet. "Do you really want to give your opinion right now, Leland? After everything you did?" He hesitated but held his ground. "I tried to find you, Glinda." "Tried?" I let out a bitter chuckle. "You sold me. You handed me over to a kidnapper like I was trash, just to save your mistress. And now you expect me to believe you? Leland ran a hand down his face, as if trying to keep his patience in check. I feel guilty every day. Oh, how sad. But guess what, Leland? I survived. And more than that, I moved on. His fists clenched at his sides. You moved on?
Yes.
I met his eyes without hesitation. I loved you my whole life. But you showed me what betrayal really is. You made me understand what it's like to be disposable. I died for you that day, Leland. But what you didn't expect was for me to come back. To rise from the ashes in a way you could never destroy again. His eyes shone with desperation, but I felt nothing for him anymore. Absolutely nothing. Now, get out of my way. My father tried to step in. Glinda, you need to understand that your sister needs stability right now. And I needed a family. But that never seemed to matter to you, did it? Silence. I get it now. I was never important to any of you. So don't pretend to care now. I pulled out my phone and made a quick call. What are you doing? Tamia asked, suddenly anxious. Fixing this the right way. Minutes later, a group of security guards arrived at the door. My father's face turned red with anger. What the hell is this, Glinda? I'm taking back what's mine. This house is under my name. I was foolish enough to trust you and sign over some parts to you, Dad. But you know what I didn't do? I never gave away my share. And now I want it all back. Tamia turned pale. This has to be a joke. Looks like it's not. I smirked. If you don't want to leave, the guards can help you. She turned to Leland. Say something. Leland looked at me, then at Tamia. I think we should go. What? Tamia shrieked. You heard him. I shrugged. It's over. She wanted to protest, but the security guards were already prepared to escort them out. My father tried to argue, but for the first time, I had the final say. And just like that, I watched as all three of them left the house that had once been my prison. When the door closed behind them, a heavy silence settled over the house. But for the first time in a long time, that silence brought me peace. I walked to what used to be my mother's bedroom and looked around. It was empty now. A new beginning. I pulled out my phone and dialed another number. I'm back. And on the other end of the line, Harold Adams' deep voice replied. Finally. I was waiting. I smiled. Because this time, I had a future. A real future. One that I had chosen for myself. Before she could take any action, my father decided to voice his opinion. Enough, Glinda. His voice echoed through the house, dripping with irritation. You're overreacting. All this over a room. I turned to face him slowly, feeling a quiet but intense fury build up inside me. Over a room? I repeated incredulously. Do you really think this is just about a room? My father sighed, exasperated. You've always been selfish. Your sister is pregnant and needs comfort. You lost your room months ago. Can't you just accept it? Did I lose it? Or did you hand it over like you do with everything else that's mine? Silence. This isn't just about a room, Dad. It's about how you've taken everything from me. Everything I had left. You already took my mother, my home, my fiancé, my future, and now you want the last bit of space that was mine. Tamia sobbed quietly in the background, placing a hand over her stomach as if my request for my own room was a direct attack on her unborn child. I can leave, really, she muttered, her voice trembling. I raised my hand to silence her. Great. Then do it.
Now.
Her eyes widened in shock. What? I crossed my arms, staring directly at her. You said it yourself. You can leave. So do it. Pack your things and give back what was never yours. She looked toward our father, seeking support. He crossed his arms and sighed heavily. Glinda, you can't just come back after months and expect to change everything. Don't you think Tamia deserves a comfortable space? I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. Interesting. So abandoning me to die was a quick decision, but giving me back what's mine requires a debate. Tamia lowered her head, but I caught a glimpse of a sly smirk on her lips. You're overreacting, as always. This time, it was Leland who spoke. My gaze shifted to him, and the revulsion I felt was so overwhelming that I was shocked I hadn't slapped him then and there. Do you really want to speak now, Leland? After everything you did? He hesitated, but stood his ground. I tried to find you, Glinda. Tried. I let out a humorless chuckle. You sold me. Handed me over to a kidnapper like I was trash, just to save your mistress. And now you want to play the heroes? Leland ran a hand down his face, struggling to maintain his composure. I feel guilty every single day. Oh, poor you. But guess what, Leland? I survived. And more than that, I moved on. His fists clenched at his sides. You moved on?
Yes.
I met his eyes, unwavering. I loved you my entire life. But you showed me what betrayal looks like, made me understand what it means to be disposable. I died for you that day, Leland. But what you didn't expect was for me to come back, stronger than ever, in a way you can never destroy again. His eyes filled with a desperate glint, but I felt nothing for him anymore. Absolutely nothing. Now, get out of my way. My father stepped forward, trying to intervene. Glinda, you have to understand that your sister needs stability right now. And I needed a family. But that never mattered to you, did it? Silence. I understand now. I was never important to any of you. So don't pretend you care now. I pulled out my phone and made a quick call. What are you doing? Tamia asked, her voice laced with anxiety. Taking care of this the right way. Minutes later, a group of security guards showed up at the door. My father turned red with fury. What is this, Glinda? I'm reclaiming what's mine. This house is in my name. I was foolish enough to trust you and sign over some parts to you, Dad. But you know what I didn't do? I never gave away my share. And now I want it all back. Tamia turned pale. This must be a joke. Does it look like a joke? I smirked. If you don't want to leave, the guards can help you. She turned to Leland. Say something. Leland glanced between me and Tamia. I think we should go. What? Tamia shrieked. You heard him. I shrugged. It's over. She wanted to argue, but the security guards were already prepared to escort them out. My father tried to protest, but for the first time, I held the final word. And just like that, I watched the three of them leave the house that had once been my prison. When the door clicked shut behind them, a heavy silence settled over the house. But for the first time in years, that silence brought me peace. I walked into what was once my mother's room and looked around. It was empty now, a clean slate. I pulled out my phone and dialed another number. I'm back. And from the other end of the line, Harold Adams' deep voice replied, Finally. I've been waiting. I smiled. Because this time, I had a future. A real future. One I had chosen for myself.